Part 1 NBA blockbuster trades that almost happened. Let's get into it. 1999, the Raptors offered Tracy McGrady in a first-round pick to the Sixers for Larry Hughes. Now, this is a very young, raw, athletic T-Mac. He's not the polished scorer that he became in Orlando just yet. He was showing flashes of that guy, but he wasn't there quite yet. He was coming off of his sophomore season in the league, averaging just over 9 points a game, seeing very limited action, but he did show tons of potential, which is why Philly wanted him. If they would have paired him with AI, would have easily been one of the best scoring duos over the next 5 years in the league. And man, can you imagine how much more exciting that 01 finals would have been if you had AI along with T-Mac, against Kobe and Shaq. Would have been crazy. Lakers still would have won probably in maybe 6 games instead of 5, but definitely would have been something to watch. Would have been crazy seeing T-Mac and AI go up against Kobe and Shaq. Speaking of the Lakers, in 2007, they offered Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum to Minnesota for Kevin Garnett. Now, for the younger audience watching this video, KG in Minnesota was an absolute monster. And he did it all. He would dunk on you, hit a turnaround jumper on you, hit a game winner in your face, block your shot. He literally did everything on the court. Won MVP in 04. Just go look up his highlights on YouTube. You'll be amazed. You can watch his highlights for literal hours. Footwork was amazing. I think he was the best power forward in the league at his peak. Now, all that said, it wasn't getting it done in Minnesota, so it was time for him to make a change and make a move. He requested a trade. Rumor has it this deal was a lock. Lakers brass had shook on it. They were happy with the deal. They were getting KG. This was a possible starting lineup here, and they still had assets to go out and get Pau Gasol if they choose. Have a big three: Kobe, Pau, KG. Crazy. KG claims he was a little iffy about the whole Kobe Phil Jackson relationship, didn't really want to get into it. KG gets traded to Boston instead, and we all know what happens next.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
In 2012, the Golden State Warriors almost traded Stephen Curry, Ekpe Udoh, and Kwame Brown to Milwaukee for Andrew Bogut. Now, I know it sounds crazy to even think about trading Stephen Curry, but think back about 10, 11 years ago, Golden State actually almost did it. At the time, the Golden State Warriors had Monte Ellis, who was a fan favorite and one of the highest scoring guards in the league, and there were a lot of questions surrounding Steph's health and his ankles. So in this scenario, Steph goes to Milwaukee, teams up with Brandon Jennings, fun duo there for backcourt. Next year, they get Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think that's still very possible in the 2013 draft. And imagine trying to defend a Steph-Giannis pick and roll on a nightly basis. It will be virtually impossible to stop this duo, or having Steph on the wing, Giannis driving in. It'll be impossible. It will be impossible to stop. Now, who's to say Giannis and Steph would develop at the same rate or have the same style of play if they were playing with each other since 2013, 2014? Who knows? But it's definitely fun to think about. Back to 07, the Lakers almost sent Kobe to Chicago for Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Tyrese Thomas, and Joakim Noah. Now, 07 was a crazy year. Kobe was not a happy camper at all. He actually publicly demanded a trade leading up to the season. And initially, Dr. Buss didn't get any good trade packages for Kobe, so he held on to him. But then Chicago, thirsty for another superstar, reached out and offered this great package, and Dr. Buss actually jumped on it. Kobe had a no trade clause, which is why this deal didn't get done. He ultimately wanted to play with Luol Deng in Chicago. Look at a potential starting lineup for the Bulls had they got Kobe in that trade. Now, Kobe was still at the top of his game in 07, so it would have been great to see him in the Eastern Conference against some of those great defensive teams, especially in the playoffs. And of course, it would have been great to see Kobe and LeBron go head-to-head in the playoffs. We know Cleveland and Chicago had some great battles there in the early 2010s. It would have been amazing to see Kobe and then Chicago Red playing against LeBron and Cleveland. Would have been some crazy battles there. And ultimately, LeBron just owned the Bulls during that stretch. So it would have been interesting to see if Kobe had been there in Chicago, had things been a little bit different. And that's a great segue into our last almost trade here. In 1988, Chicago almost traded Michael Jordan to the Clippers for Michael Cage, Mike Woodson, Ken Norman, and the 1st and 6th pick of 1988 draft. Now, this is 1988. Jordan's already shown that he is the next transcendent superstar in the NBA. He's led the league in scoring a couple times already. He's already been multiple-time All-Star, and he's actually coming off his first MVP award as well. So crazy to even think about trading him, but they were thinking about it. The main knock on Jordan around this time was that he didn't get his teammates as involved as people thought he should, and the critics thought that maybe that was holding them back, that maybe if they had more team-oriented players, that they would, succeed further in the playoffs and have a better overall team. They thought maybe if they traded Jordan for more team-oriented players and those draft picks, then go out and get players in the draft like Rick Smits and also Mitch Richmond, maybe they would see more success in the playoffs. The Bulls ended up turning that trade down. Clippers ended up drafting Danny Manning, and Hersey Hawkins traded Hersey to the Sixers, and they put their faith in Michael Jordan. And of course, it wasn't instant success. Of course, they still have the Pistons to go through, and they still have some changes to make. A head coach, Doug Collins, is still the coach at this time, so they still haven't even discovered Phil Jackson as the Zen master that he is today. So, still a lot of things had to happen for Mike to become Mike, but eventually, when they put their faith behind Mike, he became Mike. Now, my question for you all, would Mike become Mike if this trade went down? Had he went to LA, would he still be the GOAT? Would he have won those 6 championships? Would he have won any championships? Tap in below and let me know what y'all think, man. Yo, don't miss out on any more of this dope content. Make sure you subscribe and follow, like, share, save, all that good stuff, man. Peace.